Hey fam, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Big Love Season 4 review. This one pissed me off, the mighty and strong. Do me a favor, hit the like button. I'm on StreamYard because this is the fastest way for me to record, and I believe I said it in a previous review. I have been out of town, so I am backed up as far as my recording schedule, and I have a lot of catching up to do. And you all know that unless I go on vacation, I like to be consistent with my content. So here I am. If there's something that I forget, don't charge it to my head. No, don't charge it to my heart. Charge it to my head. Charge it to my head and not my heart. I probably should take that out, but y'all know I do not edit. This is going to be me. If this buffers, blame StreamYard, not me. Let's jump into this. I want to begin by saying that Bill is frank. I don't personally care what Ben did. I don't care if he wrote a letter or if he told Margene that he loves her. He is a young adult. He may be 18 at this point, but I'm going to say he's a child because this is the role that he is in this family. Is he is the child. These other people that are supposed to be adults are the adults. These adults make me sick, every last one of them, because this should not have turned into what it did at the end. Each episode, in my opinion, Bill gets worse and worse, and he continues to remind me why I often find myself despising people like him and the bald eagle. Because Bill never seems to think about the full picture. He has now caused major issues, not just for his company, but for himself and for his supposed really close friend Don. So we begin this episode with Bill. He's on the radio and he's talking about this potential run for state senator without saying that he's running. Roy Colburn, who also is about to run, decides that he's going to call into the radio and he's going to talk about illegal workers and how the workers are taking away jobs and blah, 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 blah. Bill points out that he has created over 250 jobs for Sandy alone. So basically, you're talking about this, Roy, but it doesn't apply to me. Roy is trying to start a debate, but the person who works there, thank you, cuts it off. Back at his store, Bill is working on his announcement, so he has Nikki, who is currently working on building this cabin, on the phone as Barb is in the office taking notes. Don comes in and he's panicking because the INS has paid them a visit to make sure that there are no illegal workers. Doesn't seem like a big deal to me because Bill has said that they don't have that problem. It seems that they have gotten an anonymous tip. Bill quickly figures out it was probably somebody from Colburn's team, right? Or him himself. But he's not worried because, as I said, they don't have undocumented workers. He should know better than to think that this is just about the workers. He should know better to think that you, who's going to use on your platform when you run, that you came from the Juniper Creek compound, that you don't think that these people around you will dig to see what else they can find out about you, because more than likely you're a polygamist. So I think you have more to worry about than potential illegal workers. So the next thing you know, Bill finds out he does have something to worry about because the auditors are now looking into payroll, because while trying to find out things to see if there was illegal workers there, they found other major discrepancies because, as we know, both Bill and Don have all of their wives on payroll to ensure that there is medical coverage. This, I believe, and you guys can let me know down below, is this some type of insurance fraud? I'm not sure. But either way, one thing I know for sure is it's a hot mess. So Don is pissed because once again, Bill's decisions have put him in jeopardy. Not Bill so much, but everybody that's around him. So Don and Bill later talk in his office, and Bill's like, look, you got to remove the wives from payroll. But Bill doesn't care about what that also does to Don, because Don is currently going through a custody battle and his family and his kids need this insurance coverage. Bill was like, don't worry about it, remove them. I'll keep paying for it. I'll pay for the stuff for you and your family. And he's like, I got it. He's like, no, but I can do it. Where is Bill getting all this money from? Because the whole point in you running in this place, first place, was for that. So, like, are you taking money from the casino? I don't quite understand what's going on. So Don is, not appreciating all of this public scrutiny that is occurring because of Bill's choices. But Don unfortunately has no backbone, and he tends to renege despite the way that he's feeling. So we later see Don apologize to Bill for saying that, one of Don's problems is Don says, I was just jealous because, you getting all these things done, but here I am, and I'm not, and Bill, at this point I'm just ready to help. I wish Don would know his worth. Don is like a battered wife. And I hate to compare it to that because I understand the severity of that situation. So let me change that up. Let me say that he is a person who has been emotionally possibly abused by Bill, maybe financially, I don't know. There's some dynamic there that's very off-putting to me. And I feel like Don doesn't realize that in this partnership, in my opinion, he brings so much more to the table than Bill does. He isn't seeing that he is truly the one that gets things done for Bill. And as a result of that, Bill is then able to take credit for it at every turn. So you got that. Nikki is playing a double agent in the episode. Not only is she building this cabin, preparing for this announcement, but Bill also has implanted her into Ray's camp. So she's working at his headquarters. So she tells him, look, Ray knows about the polygamy and he is sending news crews to the store to expose them. Y'all, I'm jumping around a little bit, but this episode jumped around so much. And while I was in the car, because that's where I was taking notes, I said, you know what? The best thing for me to do is to do this person by person. There may be some overlap here and there, but we're going to get this done the way we got to get this done. So this is when we see, in my opinion, how quickly Bill is willing to toss his friend under the bus, because he tells Don, like, Don, we're about to be exposed and I need someone to take the blame. I need someone who is willing to take the bullet. He wants Don to come out and say that he is a polygamist before the rally begins so that he can still run. And you guys, I was mortified by how quickly Don decided to do it. He does it as if this man who's supposed to be Bill's partner hasn't suffered enough. I don't understand how Don continues to take the fall and how him taking the fall helps this in any way, because either way, once this is made known, we see that it's in the paper. Once it's made known that you have a lot of polygamous associations, they're going to investigate either way. So forget the fact that this could cause more damage to Don. Forget the fact that this could cost him his kids. None of that matters though, because Bill is Frank's son. You're your daddy's son, like the lyrics say. You really, really are, because it's all about you. Just like it's all about Frank. Just like in Sister Wives, it's all about Cody. So before the cameras, Don admits to reporters that he is a polygamist. I'm a polygamist, and I lied to Bill, and I'm sorry. I insured 4 or 5 of my wives falsely, and as a result of this, I'm going to resign officially from my position. As he said it, I found myself being so upset because once again, here you are being the fall guy for this man who would never do the same for you. While Bill selfishly says that it's a personal matter and we'll deal with it privately. That's his response because Don has taken full blame for something that, in my opinion, he shouldn't. Bill isn't just Frank, but he's also Roman because he's so obsessed with power that it doesn't matter who he steps on to get there. Let's talk a little bit about Barb and Margene. Barb is trying to get to the bottom line of what happened at VSN, asking Margene, why was my son shown on TV as your husband? Margene is stumbling over her words, struggling to lie. Barb can sense that something is up, but she's not sure what it is. Margene ends up telling Barb that, I accidentally kissed Ben. It was nothing. I went to kiss him on the cheek, and then he turned, and I accidentally kissed him on the lips. But it meant nothing. But she's lying. Barb tells her that she has to tell Bill before he gets wind of it. Barb, you have so much to say about everyone else, but you have nothing of. I was surprised by Barb's reaction. It felt to me like Barb knew that this was going to happen because she wasn't shocked enough or upset enough or even really willing to. I don't know. Her reaction just surprised me because it had to be more than the accidental your lips accidentally kiss. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. It's rather interesting that this is what we're going to say because they would have saw you all be startled and be like, oops, sorry, but none of that happened. But that's her story. You're going to stick to it. Barb, this is your son. Like, stand up for him. Barb later asks Sarah if she has any friends willing to date Ben. We all know the only friend that she has is Heather. So I wonder what's going to come of that. Margene later tells Bill her version of what happened. In her version, she explains that Ben was accidentally referred to as Mr. Margene Hefman. Bill is upset. He doesn't even know anything about the kiss. He's just mad that that's how everybody around the studio is thinking. And he tells her, you're not allowed to use my son as a sales tool. Why can she not do it when that's what you've done this entire time is use your family as a tool? I'm going to add, Bill didn't even make time to watch his wife on this broadcast, yet she's expected to go back on said broadcast and correct this wrong when you didn't even see it in the first place. You didn't even know about it. So I just feel like I would have told Bill to go to hell. I'm tired of Bill. Bill gets on my nerves. So Ben is in the pool. And he's being, I guess, taunted, ridiculed. I don't know. Teeny is the one in this family who seems to be taking on a lot of her mother, and that she is very righteous and very judgmental and seems to feel like it's okay to berate her brother while he's in the pool and he's upset. Bill comes out as he's attempting to talk to what is looking to me like a confused, sad-looking Ben, completely ignoring that Ben is struggling and that he needs some support. You're talking about what happened and the importance of communication and how important communication is when it's clear that you don't do the very thing that you're requesting of him to do, which is to communicate. He himself doesn't do it. So if you don't do it, why is it that you expect him to do it? This is so much bigger than a kiss. Margene is only a few years older than him. Why would you not think that there might be a possibility where there would be something more to this? It just doesn't make sense. So at the dinner table later on, it is very uncomfortable as Ben tries to ask Margene what type of pizza she wants. There's all sorts of looks. Margene, in my opinion, looks guilty. Nikki wants to know what all the looks are about because she doesn't have any knowledge of what's going on and nobody tells her. Bill gets a call on the phone saying that, he needs to move up his announcement basically because of the whole thing with Roy. I think that's his name. I can't remember his name because it's not in this part of the notes. With the guy who's supposed to be running against him, right? So Nikki's talking about how she's not gonna have enough time if they do it that quickly to do the cabin, and he basically tells her that she can do it if she works harder. She can do it if she works harder. Once again, everybody around you is doing all the work. Later that night, we see Ben and Margene bump into each other in the kitchen. I don't understand how they could possibly bump into each other. Was this Margene's kitchen? Or was this Barb's kitchen? Like, how exactly did this happen? Ben calls Margie out about the kiss, saying he wants to know if she's going to keep on like denying stuff or if she's going to be honest. Are you going to keep acting like Ben is just a stupid kid and like she is just some flirt? He says, I have grown up. Why haven't you? I said, oh, Ben. Ben has changed. I'm not even sure if the people around him see that. I wish that we had a timeline of this situation, but Ben deserved more. So she does admit that the kiss did mean something. He then walks over to her and it looks like he's about to kiss her and like she's waiting, but what he does instead is he grabs the cereal and hands it to her and he walks off. So the next day, Margene does her TV thing where she's selling her product and she begins to talk about how, we have to be, I don't remember what the words that she said, but basically she needed to be honest. So she starts by letting it be known that the guy that was shown as her husband is not her husband. Instead, he's a supportive friend. And then she switches it to her husband, abandoned her and her kids. And even though I don't think that's what Bill wanted her to say, it very much so, in my opinion, speaks to where we are in this situation, which is that it's true. Bill has abandoned all of them. He's abandoned all of his family because out of nowhere, you want to jump into politics. You can't even properly divide yourself amongst your 3 households. You can't even properly manage your business. You can't even properly manage your household. But here he is pursuing this political dream that puts all of them at risk. Bill does not support her or listen to her or show up for her or spend time with her, but Ben does, and he did. And as a result of that, that's why she kind of fell, I don't know, for him, because I don't know how long they're going to pull this along or what they're going to do with it, because it's messy. And we know she's not going to end up with Ben. I hope she doesn't. Ben deserves better. So she basically has a meltdown and she starts then talking about, her daddy issues and how he died when she was little and her mom died in a laundry room, possibly because of alcohol. And she is just seeming like this single mother who is trying to support her kids and sell shiny things. It's crazy, but I think it works. And it's probably going to get her more sales because the team even looks affected as they're watching her say all of this. I said cha-ching ching in my notes because I sense that she's going to get some more sales. The network may be a little disappointed, but there are going to be people out there who feel sorry for her. We all love a good story, right? So it's the next morning. Teeny tells her father and her mother that Ben isn't righteous, that she discovered a love letter written by Ben when they went on family vacation to Margene. And she says, they're in love. Barb is surprised. Bill is upset with Barb for not telling him about the kiss. Bill confronts Margene and Ben about the kiss later on. Ben lies, saying that the letter and the kiss was all his doing. He then it calls it a stupid crush, and is made by his father to apologize to Margene. I didn't like that he was told to apologize because, Bill, it doesn't make sense that you married someone who's 25 years, I think that's what Sarah said, younger than you, and you expect your son, that's probably less than 5 years age difference there, not to feel anyway. But as I said, a lot of what Bill did in this situation reminds us of what a lot of these men do, which is they're uncomfortable once their sons get to a certain level of maturity because for them it's competition. Ooh, that's good. Sarah. So the lady and the baby are still at Sarah's house, right? I can't remember the lady's name. Some with an L, I believe. I'll get to it. I know it's somewhere in the notes. So the woman leaves the baby with a note saying that she'll be back. She stepped out because she wanted to prepare some breakfast for them. Yeah, right. She, of course, does not come back. While at work, Tommy lets Barb know that the lady and her child are missing, and he gives the history and says that it will not look right if a white woman kidnapped his baby. So Barb calls, see what's going on. Sarah denies it at first, but at some point, Barb realizes it's true. She tells her she needs to bring back the baby. When she doesn't, Tommy shows up at Henriksen headquarters where I think they're going to build with Bill. I can't remember what his slogan is, but it's something real basic. Go Team Bill. Really not, but I'm just saying. Oh, Layla. That's the lady's name. So Tommy's at the house and he's like, look, Layla told reservation police that Sarah took her child. I already told you, this doesn't look good. Barb denies it, saying that Sarah didn't take her, that Layla abandoned her. Barb, it's semantics at this point. Give Tommy, give Layla, give the reservation back the child and stay out of it. So she's like, Sarah's just trying to help. So Tommy says there would be some need for them because, they always feel like they're better than and all those other things to be saved, but they don't need saving from them. And he's right. This is a community thing. So Bill walks in and demands to know what's happening. So Tommy's like, are you going to tell him or am I going to tell him? Y'all, what's up with Barb? Why Barb always look like she wants to do something with Tommy? It's this little underlying tension there that I feel. I don't know. So it reminds us yet again that Bill knows nothing because he didn't know any of this was going on, right? So he also finds out that Barb hit somebody with her car. Barb tells Bill the reason why I kept this from you is because I didn't want to burden you even more. So they go to Sarah's home. Barb's like, look, I'm worried about you. You can't be that baby's mom. You need to be the one to bring back the baby to tribal services and blah, 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 blah. So Scott walks in as Bill is demanding for her to return the baby to its mother. And Scott's like, look, you can make whatever demands you want to make to your wife, but that's not how we do things in our marriage. And I said, Team Scott, I know that's right. Let Bill know that you don't treat your wife like she's less than. You actually seem to treat her like she's your partner. It is clear to everyone else that this is about the loss of the baby, that Sarah still has not properly grieved that situation. So Scott embraces her and hugs her and lets her know, like, look, hon, we could do whatever it is that you want to do. But I feel like this is about more than this baby, that this is about the fact that we haven't properly mourned us losing our baby. He hugs her and embraces her and shows up in the way that Bill doesn't for his wives because he is being a supportive partner. He is being the person that she can lean on. This is what people like Bill and the Cody Browns of the world often do not do, which is see that love and care, actually thinking about someone other than yourself, goes a long way. They need to work on it, Scott says. And Sarah approaches her parents and she's like, you know what? It's okay. I'll do it. So she's going to give the baby back. Let's talk about JJ. Y'all. Let me start off by saying this. I would never be able to be in a belief system that shuffles me around like I am a slave on the auction block or like I am cattle to be sold off. JJ pays Albie a visit. I thought that he did it because he wanted to snitch on Joey, but it was for something that I did not see coming. He comes to talk to Albie about taking Adeline as a new wife because he has no intentions of being tied to her in the afterlife. He just wants her now. I want to know what's the point. She doesn't need a man. She is the brains of a lot of what we see, in my opinion, on that compound. She can fend for herself, but these men feel like these women can't do anything without them when really it's about them and what it is that they want in their loins. Albie's like, I'll think about it. But he doesn't think about it because we see him immediately call his mom and tell his mom that, he needs to talk to her. So she comes in. She's thinking that she's going to be assigned to a new home where she and her sister wives can, happily stay for the remainder of their lives, supporting one another. But Albie lets her know, no, that's not what's going to happen, Mom. What's going to happen, Mom, is you're going to be sealed to this wonderful, upstanding, righteous man. Yeah, right. I would have been looking around like, who is the righteous man? Because no one on this compound seems to be that, in my opinion, not none of the men. So Heavenly Father, he says, told him the name of her next husband, which is a bunch of crap. Albie treats his mother like she is not the woman who birthed him. And I get it. They got some issues and all those other things between them, but treating her the way he treats her, like she is something or someone that can be bought and can be sold just because she is, his words, property of the priesthood, bothers me. Property. It's how this cult sees these women. These women are property. Because I'm a woman, if I were born into that dynamic, into that situation, I would be property of some imaginary priesthood. The women in the cult are bound, and the irony of it is, so is Albie. But Albie doesn't see it because Albie, you don't want to be with a woman. You don't. It's so evident. We get to see the tender side of you when you are with a man. And I don't think it's acting, but you all tell me what you think. So after Albie tells her this, right, she calls Nikki. And she is beyond distressed. We never get to see her like this. We've never seen her like this. She's calling, oh, my daughter, oh, my daughter, oh, my daughter, oh, my daughter. She's in her truck on the side of the road, crying and screaming and blaring the sound of the horn, while Nikki, on the other end, is trying to prepare this whole cabin for Bill. It's like, Mom, what's wrong? What's wrong? And she can't even get the words out because of how distraught she is. We jump from that to seeing JJ, who pays a visit to Joey to let Joey know that, I know that you murdered the prophet. So he shows him all these pictures that his wife took. Let me say this. How did his wife take those pictures? We saw his wife with an old school looking camera phone. So how she take those pictures? I'm just wondering, y'all tell me, did she have a camera that we didn't see? Like, okay, whatever. So the pictures were really, really clear, Her imaging was really, really great of them as they dug up this body, him and Wanda, and they they lit the body on fire, right? JJ tells him, as far as I'm concerned, this is good, This is what, we wanted. Now, I know you wanted your brother to be prophet, but where I think, you would serve best is, in something else. Basically, I think he wants him to support his brother because, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking that maybe JJ is going to want to be prophet or have some type of higher rank, and Bill may get in his way. So later we see Nikki go to pick up Carolyn from his house, right? And he's like, oh, wait a second. You forgot one thing. You forgot your dish. Let me make sure I get you your Pyrex dish. I'm going to have, somebody bring it out. And who is carrying the Pyrex but her mother? She's there. And she once again has switched up on Nikki because while Nikki is talking about how messed up this entire situation is, telling her mother that this must be some type of twisted joke and that she can get out of this, Adeline is keeping sweet, saying, according to Albie, this is what Heavenly Father wanted, and that it is natural for Nikki to harbor some resentment here. She is saying all the right things, but her face looks sad to me. And I want her, as crazy as her character is, I want her to show these men that she's not the one to be played with. I want her to cause all type of havoc. Link up with Wanda and poison JJ for all I care. But do something. So Nikki says that this is demented. And her mother says, I'm being obedient. And, I think that we got the stuff to make this work, like to make this a good marriage. It is clear that JJ did this to get under Nikki's skin, to hurt Nikki. But I want to know what you guys think his endgame is. So Nikki is talking to Wanda about the situation while she's peeling potatoes, and Wanda ends up being so upset about it that she's cut herself while peeling the potatoes and she doesn't even realize it. She wants to kill JJ because she fears, Wanda does, how strong he'll get. She says he keeps getting stronger and stronger. What has JJ done to Wanda that this continues to be a thing? Because he has really, really messed her up. I just don't know what the whole story is there. So let's talk some more about Albie. Albie continues to show how crazy he is. And I just feel like this is going to end bad. So he's done some checking around and he found out that Dale resides in a certain area. And he also found out that his wife and kids are out of town for a few days. So he shows up at Dale's house, knocks on the door. You already know nobody's there. So he decides to let himself in through the window. He makes him some turkey tetrazzini, coleslaw, and he has some jelly for him. Albie really likes this man, and I don't know what's going to come of this, you guys. So Dale comes home, and despite him being a little freaked out that Albie let himself in his home, because of how sincere Albie seems, Dale goes upstairs to change so that they can have dinner together. While he's upstairs, Albie is doing what Albie does, which is looking around, and laid out perfectly for him to behold is this paperwork that has Home Plus written at the top that says distribution of the UEB, meaning this is what Bill is probably hoping will happen in regards to the UEB. We get another vision of Roman sitting down, telling him that, your enemy is, or he's collaborating with your enemy. Right? That he's a fool. He says, you're a pathetic crybaby that masturbated yourself into a sunlight. I said, what? What type of saying is that? But these are the things that his father must have said to him in the past, because he keeps on hearing his father's voice and seeing his father as these things are being said. So he ends up walking out, right? He later returns upset at the thought of Dale working against him with Bill. What did Albie do while he was gone before he came back? He lets him know he saw some of the paperwork. Albie says, I still believe in the principle and I still believe in my community and I want my people to stay strong, but I just want to be able to undo my father's misdeeds. Isn't what he just did to his mother, by promising her to be sealed to JJ, a misdeed? I don't quite understand. So, Albie, is this how you really feel? Or are you truly playing a game here? Dale reassures him that he would never betray him. Albie tells Dale, I think you're the answer to my prayers. And they hug and he kind of nestles into Dale. And I see this and I say there's a vulnerability there that we have not seen with Albie for real, unless he was talking to Nikki. Albie has fallen for this man. And for Dale's sake, I hope that he's taking this seriously, because if not, I think that Albie has a very dark side that will mess up a lot of stuff for Dale. So let's talk about Lois and Frank. Lois, Frank, and Jodine go to the Mexican border. They've driven 16 hours to collect these birds. I'm going to add illegally. I think they're working with Hollis's people because if I remember correctly, I heard her say like, "Give my regards to Hollis." That's what Lois said, but I'm not sure. If you guys remember, put it down below, please. Lois and Frank are picking with each other this whole time. Border Patrol comes. She's really quiet, whispering on the phone as Bill is telling her, "I need you to speak at my stuff. It's moved up," and all these other things. While Jodine is looking like she's annoyed with their very presence. Frank wants them to stay at the hotel, but he wants to splurge on his honeys. He wants them to stay at the hotel. Lois tells Frank she has to be back in town to introduce Bill because he's running for Senate. And Frank is upset because he didn't know about this and he wasn't asked. So they don't stay at the hotel. Instead, they're sleeping in the car. And it is the next morning. And as they're sleeping in the car, Jodine pops the trunk and lets all the birds go free. And she has this sinister smile as she does it. But this is going to cause some mess because Lois said that this was going to be her last time doing it. So I don't know what to say about this. And I don't know why Jodine did this unless it's just some type of representation of the fact that Jodine herself wishes someone would set her free out of her cage. So let's get to why Bill thinks we are all here, which is the announcement. So we are at the rally. Nikki's in the audience. Margene is in an elephant costume. And Barb is being the wife. Bill is looking for Margene because he's about to go on stage. She is in the back in the elephant's costume crying. She takes off the head. She looks at Bill, admits to him that she's the one that kissed Ben and it wasn't an accident. She says that she wanted Bill to be there for her and he wasn't. Bill is shocked, but he ends up leaving her as he goes on stage. Ben and Teeny come out of the cabin that Nikki made. Joey comes out holding his footballs and tossing them. Barb is there. Lois announces her son. Bill comes out. It's so much so giving we're the all-American family, even though we're not, which goes back to the fact of a lot of what we see when it comes to these polygamous families. A lot of what the Browns presented is a farce. It's not real. And even in this, as his family crumbles, here he is doing this. So he gives his speech that I don't care about as we see Don look on and we see Frank listening. And he says that Lois made him who he is today, and Frank walks off. After the rally, we see Ben in his room packing, letting his father know that he thinks he should leave. And Bill, who was ran off the compound by his own father, who was deemed as one of the lost boys. Bill, who resents and hates his father. Bill, who hated and resented Roman for doing some of the things that his father has done to him and that his father has done to his sister and that Roman did to his sister, now is the very thing that he hated as he agrees that Ben should leave. That is how the episode ends. I can't wait to see what Madame Barb is going to say when she sees that her son has been kicked out, basically. She better speak up. Because if she doesn't, I'm going to go off on Barb. I am. Not that it matters because it's not like Barb can hear me, but I'm going to go off on Barb. I don't know. The slogan is "Build with Bill," while everything that he is building is being destroyed. You all, let me know what you thought about this episode. How do we feel about Ben basically being kicked out? How do we feel about Margene admitting that she kissed him? I personally don't think that they should be together, but because this is the story and you're supposed to root for the people, I guess we'll see what comes of it. You guys, if you haven't done so already, as I said earlier, please like the video as it helps the channel. I will be back on Friday. Until next time.